Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I'm an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. Make sure to check in the description notes below the video where you will find links to all of my online shenanigans, including how to get my patterns to knit up for yourself, how to join the Watch Barbara Knit Facebook group, how to support me on Patreon, and where to get Watch Barbara Knit merchandise. And today there will be a whole pile of information because today I have for you a Fave 5. So that means I'm going to be talking about 5 different patterns from 5 different designers that you may never have run into or heard of, and the links to where you can get the pattern I talk about, and as well as more information about those designers will be in the description notes below the video. So you're definitely going to want to check that out. Fave 5 is where I go through a whole bunch of patterns I browse on a website, and I pick out the 5 ones that match my theme that I have in my brain the best. Now, I call it Fave 5 because it is not the top 5. I'm not saying that these are the best of whatever category they are. They are simply the patterns that struck my fancy, that grabbed my attention when I was looking with this particular theme in mind. And since it's the beginning of the year and it's January, the theme that I picked was essentially things I should have knit last year. And so what I did is I narrowed it down to patterns that came out in 2024 and went through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of patterns, looking at which ones, I'm like, wow, I should have jumped on that the minute it hit the shelves, if you will, metaphorically, because it's a digital shelf and it's not going to run out. But it's just something that intrigues me. So these don't really have a whole lot in common, except for they intrigued me and they grabbed my eye and I thought they looked like really fun patterns. The thing they have in common is that they were published in 2024. So these are new patterns. Now, I have a secondary monitor where I have all the information pulled up on these patterns. So you will see me looking in this direction so that I can make sure that I get all of the information correct for you. And here we go. So I'm going to switch to this view. There we go. The first one up, we have the Kruger Cowl by Noma Ndlovu. And I love this designer. It's not surprising that something by her would grab my attention. I did a couple of years ago, I did a whole Fave 5 just on her patterns. And so I'll link to that probably as well, because you really should go and look at her patterns. Honestly, all of them I'm talking about. Go look at all your other patterns. This is just the one I picked out. This is called, where are we pointing? Over here. This is called the Kruger Cowl. Noma Ndlovu is bigger than life. Hand knits. You should definitely follow her on Instagram. I do, and it's beautiful stuff. And the reason why this one really jumped out at me is it is a fantastic thing for scraps, but also it's January, and I am willing to wager that quite a few out there might have purchased one of those Advent yarn sets, and you don't really know what to do with all of those little mini skeins. And this is what to do with all of those little mini skeins. It's just absolutely adorable. Now, so this is knit in fingering weight yarn. Again, tails into having those fingering weight Advent sets. And it calls for 1,192 yards. That's 1090 meters, a US size 4, which is a 3.5 millimeter needle. And I'm going to guess you could probably get away with some really long straights, but you're probably going to need a circular. It'll make life easier. So the information that the designer gives us is the Kruger Cowl is worked flat on the bias with a simple ruched pattern. And that is one of the things I really liked, is this ruching that gives you this kind of wrinkly. Ruching means that you're like almost doing tiny, tiny pleats. I've never done that before, so I think it's interesting to do and would be fun to do in this. And it gives it that more textured effect. And so you're just knitting it flat and then you're going to graft it together. So you're not knitting something big, giant in the round. You're knitting it flat. You're knitting it till it's long enough. You're sticking it together. And the designer says you only need 9 grams of the contrast color yarn. So that's it. So it's just a whole bunch of tiny, tiny, tiny things. Okay, materials says the main color, so that's the in-between colors, is 100-gram skein of yarn that's approximately 360 meters or 393 yards. And then for the contrast color, which is the colors in between the ruched parts, you need 24 25-gram skeins, which are about 90 meters or 98 yards apiece. And it says you'll need approximately 9 grams of each color. So I'm not real. What she did, I guess, is use the mini skeins, but you don't even use the entirety of the mini skein. So my guess is that if you didn't want to get all the colors in there, you could just use up whatever you got and then start the new one. You'll just have multiple stripes, or you can just finish a stripe and you can like alternate in colors. It's one of the things I really liked about this is I think it can work with like whatever yarn you happen to have on hand. It could be really cool. Although the colors she used, these are just absolutely gorgeous. I'm not gonna lie, totally grabbed my eye. And so here is a picture of her wearing it. US size 4. The finished circumference is 52 inches and 16.5 inches tall, or that's 132 centimeters and 42 centimeters in height. So the big numbers were the circumference. That's how big around and how tall. And I'm willing to guess that if you didn't want to make it that big, you could stop it shorter and have a smaller, more neck, shoulder hugging kind of situation going on. But really thought it was super cute. This was released in November of 2024, so it's a really new pattern, and I just really like it. And again, think it would be really great for using up scraps or doing the advent and stuff. So that is the Kruger Cowl. Next up, now, this just looked snuggly, okay? Snuggly is what grabbed me. This is Storyweaver by Faye, Kennington. It just looked so snuggly. I really like kind of the turned collar. I think it's just like a shawl collar kind of situation. Or it might just be that it's designed straight and when you put it on, you fold it over. It might, I don't know if it even has any shaping. I like that it's open. I like that it doesn't have buttons. You can see she's holding it closed. There's no buttonholes. It's just an open, snuggly thing. It's got the like elbow length, little past elbow. I don't even think it's to 3/4 length sleeve. Everything about it. I liked it. I really liked that based on how the color work looks and how the texture works. Before I even looked at it, I was like, this is going to be in a heavier weight yarn. And I was right. It is in an Aran weight yarn, which I really like the idea of how much faster it will make this knit. I like color work in larger yarns because it makes it a little bit easier because you can get a lot of pop and boldness out of your color. That you can't get when you get the little tiny stitches. Not that I mind little tiny stitches, but there's definitely a speed and efficiency difference when you have bigger yarns. This was released in October of 2024. She is calling for a US 9 and a US 10. That's a 5.5 millimeter and a 6 millimeter. And the yardage is anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 yards, and that's because it comes in a wide range of sizes. So the sizes available start with a 42-inch bust, I assume. 42 is what the number is, and goes all the way up to 70 inches. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, it is 8 sizes, and that's 106.5 centimeters up to 178 centimeters. So this is a wide range. Again, I love size inclusive patterns because I'm a big person and I want to knit fun stuff, but also smaller people like to knit fun stuff too. Everybody should be able to knit fun stuff and have it like fit their bodies, at least a little bit. So The designer describes this as a boxy, oversized, open cardigan with short sleeves. Her definition of short and my definition of short are different, but I live in Florida and I don't think she does. So they aren't long sleeves, definitely. Perfect for wrapping yourself in comfort on relaxed days. This design features a charming folkloric, I love that word, stranded knit pattern, adding a touch of whimsy to your wardrobe, knit side to side with a steeked hem. It's an interesting and rewarding project. Storyweaver makes a lovely casual house jacket, ideal for curling up on the couch with a book. Okay, that's what sold me, because I've never steeked anything. And I really feel like steeking is something but I have no idea what a steeked hem is. I don't know how hems get steeked. I don't know if that means the bottom of the, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm pretty excited about the idea. And when she says it's, hang on, side to side, I think she means like you're starting at like one arm and knitting across to the other arm. So again, I don't know how. I would be fascinated to see the construction of this and to learn how she made this look so fun and so comfy. And that's one of the things that grabs my eyes. Is like, I don't 100% understand how that happened, and I want to know how it happened. So they're calling for a 6 to 10 inches of ease. That means that the 42, so just look at the smallest size, the 42-inch bust one would be appropriate for someone that had like a 32-inch chest, 32, or I mean, saying 6. So 42, 41, 40, 39, 38, 37, 36. So 32, if your bust is like 32 to 36, you would want to knit the 42-inch one, because that's what the positive ease means. I have a whole video on that in case you're interested. It calls for, let's look at this. The yarn is, as I said, an Aran weight. She used something called worsted weight, which is the name of it, which is funny because it's listed as Aran weight by Ravelry. And that is one of those things that you just got to realize that Ravelry does not always get it right. And it is a 75% Rambouillet and 25% mohair, 200 yards in 113 grams. So that is pretty heavy. That is definitely a little on the heavy side for worsted weight. So I can see why they're going with Aran weight. Definitely would swatch for this, especially since it's color work, but since it's loose and it's not super fitted, it might be just fine if you play a little fast and loose. But then she's got all the details, like the main color can be for anywhere from 833 yards to 1637 yards, which would be 762 meters to 1497 meters. So that range, and then the contrast color maximum you're going to need is 369 or 337 meters, the largest size. So you're not going to need that much for the contrast color. I want to page forward. This one, I really encourage you to go see the Ravelry page for this, because there is a picture of someone else who has completed this garment. This was the best picture I could find from the designer, trying to show you that the colorwork motif goes up and over the shoulder and down the back. So when you're looking at it straight from the back, you've got these two panels of this beautiful colorwork going down the back. I've done these photo shoots. You don't always shoots. I've done these photo shoots. You don't always get the photographs you want, but there is a beautiful photograph of the whole back taken by someone who has completed a project. Now, I did not take that picture to use here on my video because I always have permission to use the designer's photographs, but I'm not going to use just some random knitter's photograph just because it happens to be on Ravelry, because that's copyright infringement and I don't have their permission to use their image. So I highly encourage you to go look at more details of this, because some other people have completed beautiful like pictures of this. But I love it. I love how the color work is down here, but then over the shoulder, and it goes up and over. I like lots and lots about this piece, and that is why I picked it. And the tags, she did tag it 3/4 sleeve, adult female in the round, positive eaves, shawl, sideways, steek, stranded work, flat. So it is a shawl color. That answers that question. I love looking at tags because they help me out. So that is Storyweaver by Faye Kennington. Okay, the next one. Why did I pick this? This is Tulip Parade Hat by Emily Wood. I love projects that have one slightly wonky stitch that is the focus and the highlight of the project. I am very guilty of over elaborating and adding more and more, so I really admire designers who can create something elegant yet interesting and really stick to the focus, because the highlight of this pattern is this interesting stitch that I don't know how to do. So that's why I want this pattern. I want to know how to knit this stitch. It is really interesting. And it just grabbed me. And these focus stitches, where that is the highlight of the pattern, I really like patterns that do that, because you really get familiar with that stitch, and then it's in your repertoire. So this was published in July of 2024. It is in worsted weight yarn. She used Malabrigo yarn Rios. The needle size that are called for is 6 and US size 6 and 7, which is 4 and 4.5 millimeters in the millimeteriness. The yardage needed is between 175 and 250 yards. The sizes available, there are multiple sizes. It is 16 and a half, 19, 21 and a quarter, and 23 and a quarter inches. That's going to be your brim circumference, what it keeps it on your cabeza. And then 42, 48, 54, and 60 centimeters. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sizes. This is going to be like an extra small, a small, a medium, and a large, or small, medium, large, extra large. Depends on how you look at it and how big your head is. So let's see what information we've got. Garlands of tulip-shaped flowers loop around and around the Tulip Parade hat in bursts of color and texture. Only one color of yarn is used at a time. The tulips are created using slipped stitches and slipped stitch cables. Both things I've done, both things that excite me. Really want to do it. I want to see how she combined it to get this stitch. The hat begins with the brim with either long tail cast on or the Italian tubular cast on. I am telling you, I would be doing the cable cast on. Because I don't like either of those cast ons. But I mean, I might try it. I am bad about substituting cast ons. Knitters may choose between a short single brim or working the ribbing longer to make a double brim that can fold over. Decreases worked in pattern help to shape the crown. Perfect project for variegated yarn plus a solid for the background color. It could also be worked in 2 solids or in a single color. If you do a single color, it's just going to be a texture. I really like this as a huge for a really variegated yarn, which Malabrigo has in spades, so I can totally see why the designer chose that for this pattern. She gives you some guidance on choosing a hat size. Says, hey, have you considered a pom-pom? And there we go. Between 175 and 250 yards of worsted weight yarn, 45 to 60 in the color 1 and 130 to 190 in color 2. That would be in yards. And then 41 to 55 meters of color 1 and 119 to 174 meters of color 2 is your yarn requirements. She used liquid amber, which is a great Malabrigo color. And we already covered the needles and everything. She does say that you're going to need stitch markers and a cable needle. So, look at this. This is the other thing that I really like. Look at that top. I like the top. I love how it's got that kind of woolly. And I know that's just how the stripe is interacting with the decrease, but I think it makes a really nice top. And I admire her because trying to integrate a pattern into the top decreases can be really challenging, especially if you're providing multiple sizes, because when you have different sizes, you know, where you start and end things is different. So that is a super fun pattern. Now, next we have got the Albi Sweater by Christelle Nihoul. One of these days she's going to come out of this computer and tell me how to pronounce her name. One of my absolute favorite designers for inclusive garments. And if you ask me why I picked this one, it's because I would wear this. I looked at this picture and I saw something that I could visualize exactly what it's going to look like on my body, and I would 100% wear it. I love the size of the neckline. I love the sleeves. I love the placement of the lace. So often, when people put motifs over the shoulders, they run over, you know, I don't like it when they look like suspenders. I like them spaced a little bit further out. It's just a thing with me. It is made out of like a fiber that I can totally see. I love summer weight garments. This was released in September of 2024. So you can start knitting it now so that you can wear it when it gets hot. So this is light fingering weight yarns. Specifically, it's something called Lisle by Natesia. Now, I do know that this is a European designer, so this yarn might not be that accessible, but is a light fingering that is 95% linen and 5% cotton. So you can find those kinds of yarn. But as I said, this is a yarn I would knit this. This is something that I could wear in my climate, or that you could wear if you're not in my climate in the summer. So I love anything that calls for a mostly linen. You could definitely do this in 100% silk. It would also be absolutely amazing. It calls for a US size 2 and a US size 3, which is a 2.75 and a 3.25 millimeter. Your yardage requirements are anywhere from 778 to 1633 yards, which is 711 to 1493 meters. The sizes available, there are nine sizes available, and this designer just numbers them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're not having any of this small, medium, large stuff. It's just there are 9 different sizes. Pick which size fits your body. The pattern is available in English, but also in French. As I said, this is a European designer, so that makes absolute sense. I believe she is Belgian, but don't quote me on that. So let's see. You need 12 stitch markers and a crochet hook, a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook for it says bobbles. It says actually boobles. There's 2 O's in there. I'm sure that's a typo. I'm also sure that that is a language thing, but that's why I'm laughing, because we got to make the boobles. Okay. Sorry, I'm laughing. Okay, so the finished chest measurements, let me see if okay, so in European, they are 88, 94, 107, 115.5, 126.5, 137, 145.5, 156.5, and 164.5 centimeters. Let's see if I can find. They do not appear to have put the inches, which, you know, I'm sure it is in the English pattern. It's just not in the Ravelry description is what I am. So not going to fault anybody for not including something in the Ravelry listing. It's a Ravelry listing. I am sure and confident that this very professional designer has all that information in the pattern. Let's see here. The T is worked from the top with the set-in sleeve method, starting with shoulders. Back and front are worked separately before joining to work the body and sleeves. Once the yoke is finished, sleeves are put on hold while you're working the body, and my assumption is you then go back and pick up the stitches that you put on hold and finish the little short sleeves. And you know, if you want to make them longer, you totally could. I'm willing to wager if you want to just bind it off, you could. It just depends on how long of a sleeve you need. The skill level is indicated here, and it says 3 out of 5. So it's a little bit more than average. And she has several links: how to add additional stitches, German short rows, I-cord bind off, and bobbles. So obviously has some information here on links, videos to do the more advanced skills. T is designed to fit with positive ease of 10 to 20 centimeters. Same thing I explained with the Storyweaver pattern. You're just going to need to do the math on that to help you pick out what size is going to be best for you. Let's go to there. You can see in the back, again, the motif goes over the shoulder. Obviously, this is something that was grabbing my attention when I was looking at these patterns, because it's got the same kind of concept, but very, very different execution from the color work open piece that I shared earlier. I love this. I want it in my wardrobe is really one of the reasons why I picked this out. Okay, and then finally, these puppies. Okay, this is the Helix Remix Socks by Carolyn Lisle. I don't knit socks. I don't, but these, as I was looking, holy guacamole, they look so cool. Do they not look so cool? Like, again, what I was saying about seeing something and I don't understand how it's done, that's what makes me want to knit it. And this is just, and I will tell you that I read through their description, and they said these socks are rated 5 out of 5, challenging. This is a whole lot of sock. So if you're looking for something to challenge yourself, if you're an experienced knitter and you want to learn new things, this is the pattern. I can guarantee you, if I did actually try to make these, I would only make one. It's just, I know myself, but they're so cool. So I wanted to show it to y'all, because maybe even if I'm not going to make it, what if y'all will make it? And then it'll make me feel like I enabled somebody to make it, and I'll feel a little bit more accomplished, but being ridiculous. So this is May 2024, because that was the theory. Fingering weight yarn, needle size 1.5 and 1, which is 2.5 and 2.25 millimeter. The yardage is anywhere from 350 to 437 yards, which is 320 to 400 meters. Adult small, adult medium, and adult large are the 3 sizes. And the original, I'm scrolling down and seeing, so the sample was knit with Space Cadet, Hue Loco, Pretty String, Unique Sheep. So I think this is one of those use a bunch of different kinds of yarn kind of situation, a lot of different fingering weight yarns, because you don't need a lot of any of them individually. Now, I'm just going to read this to you, and I'm going to honestly say that I don't understand what half this means. The Helix Remix Socks use 4 color helical stripes combined with slipped elongated stitches and cables to make graphic, no repeat triangular pattern that continues from the top of the leg all the way to the end of the toe. Why use 4 colors for helical stripes instead of 2? Well, why not? I am 100% with you. Why not? This way you can have twice as much fun as you would have if you were alternating just 2 yarns, right? And double the tangles. I'm very excited about this. So it uses helical knitting, which is something that I don't understand quite yet. But one of these days I will figure it out. But what it says is, allowing for unique standout color patterning while still only working with 1 yarn at any time in any given round. So it's kind of like mosaic that way. They have an afterthought heel and a twisted rib cuff, both of which are worked in 2 color helical stripes. Mini gusset shaping is worked in the body of the sock for a flexible heel fit. That was a whole lot of sock language that I don't understand. But if you're a sock knitter, hopefully that got you excited. The patterning is both chart and written instructions, and they're separate documents. So print one or the other. Techniques required for this pattern include basic knitting stitches, Tilly Buddy's very stretchy cast on, video link provided, helical stripes, video link provided, elongated stitches, video link provided, cables without a cable knot, video link provided, grafting Kitchener stitch, video link provided, picking up an afterthought heel from scrap yarn placeholder, and you guessed it, video link provided. So what this is telling you is this designer has gone through a lot of effort to make sure that you will be able to accomplish these more advanced techniques. They're providing all of these video links so that you can see what needs to be done, which I think makes this, if you're looking for a challenge, like something that it's a challenge that you can actually overcome and like accomplish and like be successful at. This is also interesting, not something I've ever seen. This pattern is written in a method neutral manner to suit any sock knitting technique using either double pointed or circular needles. However, when choosing a technique, note that on the leg, there are cables around the entire circumference and the beginning of the round moves frequently. This may make some techniques more practical than others in that section. Translation, my personal translation of that is you can use DPNs if you want to, but I don't recommend it. I'm not saying that's what she's saying. I'm just saying what they're saying is there's a lot of these cable jumps, and if you're using multiple stitches, those cable jumps are going to have to be juggled between, not multiple stitches. If you're using multiple needles, those cable jumps are going to have to be manipulated a lot. Whereas if you're knitting like just on a single little tiny circular, which some people can do, you only have that one join and it's not that big of an issue. Or if you're magic looping, you're only going to have two spots where you have to do a lot of manipulation. But I really feel like that's saying DPNs are not what they would recommend. But they're not saying that. I am. There's so much. Again, really, you need to click through to this pattern and read all of the information they have provided on Ravelry, because it is really quite thorough. And that again is something, oh, let's look at the next picture. Look at this. Doesn't it look cool? It's so cool. I just look at the bottom of it and then the strap is, and the thing is just so cool. And it matches my shirt. Didn't do that on purpose. So that is the Helix Remix Socks by Carolyn Lisle. Okay, so there it is. I went back and looked through hundreds of patterns from 2024, and those are the 5 that I was like, yes, I probably should have knit that in May of 2024 or whenever it actually came out. Now, that is not to say there weren't many other amazing patterns down there, but this is Faye 5 and it's gotten long, and this video has gotten long enough already. So if you have any ideas for a Fave 5 that I could make or that you would like to see, please let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments what you think of the choices that I made, if any of them grabbed you, if any of them are going to jump on your needles. So if you like this video, please give it the thumbs up, click that like button. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much.